Good morning, good afternoon, welcome everyone. Welcome to another Thundering Thursday. I am your host, Alos Mobis, and with me as always is Alter. Say hello, Alter.
How's it going?
As always, we're gonna break down, um, well, the gameplay from Mats. And this Mats actually has an interesting team comp with myself, Alter, and our good friend Rogue as your three major players, I guess you could say, of the game, because that's the three that we're going to be focusing on the most part. Gameplays from my perspective, I'll be playing the Silver Haze Kai. Alter was playing the Efreet Nacht, single or double beam saber, cold blade Alter, force of habit.
I always use the single. I get the argument for the double weave swords, but I think like it's kind of trying to make the Efreet Nacht less bad at something it's already not great at, which is just like actual team fighting. Whereas the single blade is much better for just assassinating targets. Like it's better for making picks and just ensuring you kill that person. So it's like I'd rather maximize what it's already good at than minimize what it is bad at. I guess is the best way I would best way I could think to phrase that.
A really good min max. That is pretty simple and straightforward, I'd say. As for me, I used the bazooka for the extra rounds. It's literally just a setup stun. Nothing more, nothing less. The beam rifle is technically better, but the only disadvantage of it is the two shots and you're overheated, unfortunately. And Rogue was using the Gym Dominance with a double beam rifle for a really good amount of build-up stun. So, let's get into the gameplay, shall we?
Sounds good.
We're entering the combat area. Whoever's ready, sortie now.
I gotta say, I still really like the Silver Haze Kai's playstyle. The problem is that, as many will agree, it's it's broken. That's why I use the bazooka. It's a great frontliner with a bazooka.
Commencing operation.
Yeah, it's easily the best 450 raid as far as I'm concerned. It just kind of excels at everything. So team count wise, we have me and the Noct, Rogue in the Gym Dominance, which is a pretty good like front to mid liner. The Camphor, which is basically just a blue raid, and the White Rider, which is a bit of an oddball support, but it's fine here.
Here we see the support for some reason crouching to charge up the beam shot, but already Rogue is taking the front. Bazooka would have landed if he didn't dodge roll. And I'm already pushing in the front, aiming to just lure people. I had seen that guy charging there, so I just decided, you know what? Let's ruin his charge at least.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Very
this team
quickly.
comp definitely wants to be as aggressive as possible, which is also, I think, how you want to win on this map.
Oh, for sure. As you noticed already, the health of the assault armor was destroyed.
Yeah, this dude is going through it.
Yep. Again, leaving people that are almost dead because there is no worry for them. Like, what will he do? In the worst case scenario, he might shoot once. He missed. The Gatling. Just light him up. Here I did not notice the Camphor rushing in, which I gotta say, there was no point for the Camphor to rush in. It was just an easy kill from all of us. But hey, again,
Yeah.
staying aggressive. Rogue with a beautiful counter, which gives me a very good opening.
And I should note, so in both of these cases here, I tackled the first time so as not to accidentally melee either you or Rogue. Well, we were all in close quarters. And the second time, I could have gone for a melee, but I didn't want to interrupt Rogue or you again. So I just fired my primary. Something I'd like to see more players doing is not running the risk of staggering your teammates. Yeah.
Especially when out of the two of us, as much as you may want to deny it, the Silver Haze Kai's melee performance is outwardly.
Oh no, I mean, there's no argument. It's by far better. The downswing is basically just a heavy attack.
Rather, he was very much trying to avoid me, but yeah. Again, I was waiting for the comfort to come melee me, which is why I dodge rolled there. I shouldn't have.
Fair enough, yeah. Well, and notably, the camper could just use his shotgun in that instance because it's suppressive, so it wouldn't stun you.
Yep.
And that's kind of like a really good rule of thumb for this sort of thing. Is like
Yep.
if you're worried about hitting allies, use a suppressive weapon.
Yep. Ooh, the Unit 4 is
Oh,
going
his
back
legs are
walking.
broken.
Yep.
Shake it off.
He was walking home.
Yeah, as I mentioned a bit earlier, this is definitely the kind of comp you want to be playing on Impact Site because for the most part, whoever takes the bull wins. You end up like trapping the enemy team in one of the two bottlenecks on either side, and it's really hard to come back from that without incredibly well coordinated play.
Oh yeah, and we had also a very aggressive team that could real easily stay on the front, pushing constantly. I don't know how that bazooka did not land, but afterwards it was mostly just me trying to bait him into dodge rolling or tackling.
Yeah.
Which he
The
did right
interesting
there.
thing is we don't have like an especially durable team. Oh, there I am. We don't have an especially durable team, but we have a very it's a team that's very aggressive.
Yep.
So like we can't sit there and take hits, but as long as we're making picks, then
Yeah. Here it was just a grazing hit, unfortunately, but I still got at least a punish in just to ensure that that striker would not really be as much trouble. But I made the mistake of ignoring that our support would not do anything there. He was, you saw him just staring pretty much as I got meleeed because he was charging up his beam rather than laying down suppressive fire, which is always a very bad idea, by the way.
Enemy firing has stopped.
yeah, people need to be really conscious of their time investment in this game, I guess, basically. Like, yeah, charging up like a big shoop to whoop style thing is nice, but like you got to consider the time you're spent doing nothing while that's happening. So it's better to do that when you can kind of prepare it in advance and there's nothing really going on that demands your attention. Because DPS is the game. Like, there's a reason we call it DPS. It's damage per second. It's how much
Yep.
damage are you doing over time in total.
Before you
And
ask why
DPS
the two
wins
waves,
games.
by the way, it's so that I was able to turn while I had my melee ready while staying safe.
Right.
I realized that nobody was going for the full custom, which is a dangerous support if you leave it in its own, in its own little world.
I don't remember. Did he have the shotgun or the beam rifle? I haven't really been paying attention to that.
I think that he had the beam rifle.
Okay. I mean, that's less scary than the shotgun, but yeah, still, it's, I wouldn't want to leave it.
Who just got stunned by number 4. This is the camp.
I remember that was happening a lot, yeah. But it's okay. We cooked.
It was a very one-sided match, and especially with our team comp being, honestly, as much as I don't want to hate on the enemy team, we had a superior team comp. Even when they planted the bomb this late in the match, there was no point in defusing it, really.
Yeah, like, we all immediately agreed, don't bother with the bomb, just, like,
Keep
don't
the,
give up pressure to go deal with that. Just, like, keep hammering them, because otherwise you're gonna have, like, minimum one, usually more than one person go deal with it. Especially when you have, like, just randoms on your team, people you don't know. Like,
Yeah, Rogue
it's
did
hard
a
to
really
coordinate
good
with
shot,
them.
but Rogue, by the way, did a really good timing on the opening, on the even him getting at least guaranteeing the kill. Although I knocked him over, he still guaranteed the kill, and that is big.
It is, yeah.
Here I messed
Our number
up my.
4 is out of his MS. I think he was actually dealing with the bomb.
Yeah, he dealt with the bomb fully.
Which kind of goes back to my point, like, one of your randos might go deal with it, and then, like, what if you also start pathing to go deal with it? Now you're down 2 people, almost half your team in a 5v5.
Here I was very much alive thanks to you for that good end duration of the match. Even here, I managed to dodge roll that attack, and I still was, getting in close.
Yeah, I remember you jumped down, and I was like, wait, why is somebody in the tunnels? Like, what is he doing there?
I don't know how I caught this, but your heavy stagger was literally a big deal there. kept me alive, gave me the opening to just hit the borderline heavy attack. As I dropped, by the way, you probably did not notice him, but the full custom was
Yeah.
after us.
I started walking away because I was like, well, surely that's it, right? Like, you just, like, I can't... Not to be too mean, but why were either of these dudes down here? Like, there's just... This is taking tunnel vision to a whole new...
Meaning?
Really redefining that word, yeah.
And that was the end of it.
If I'd had slightly more time, I could have killed that dude.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that's okay.
And that's the end of the match. Right there. Their team comp
Yeah, good
was
stuff.
relatively strong, but the problem was that two of their mid liners, although tanky, they couldn't really handle the mobility that we had employed.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, like, we just kind of had a very feast or famine team comp, and I'm generally not as big a fan of that as more consistent, more well-rounded, like more actually having a frontline team comps. But Impact Side is one of those maps where, like I said, it's just like whoever takes the bull wins. Whoever wins that first push, like in GBO, just broadly, whoever wins the first push usually wins the game anyway. Like for that to not be the case, the enemy team has to actually like mount a comeback. They got to kind of punch above their weight to offset that now, for the most part. But like on Impact Site, that's just exponentially more true. It just like it's so difficult to come back on Impact Site when you're trapped in the bottleneck up on your side of the one that's near your spawn. I am really struggling with words apparently, but yeah, like when you're stuck in that narrow little passage trying to poke out, trying to push out or shoot out, and like especially trying to shoot when you may not have right hand advantage, it's really, really rough.
I gotta say though, in the long run, it proves very much that a majority of the, I guess you could say, the team composition was also reinforced further with how much we were staying out of each other's way while we were still covering each other's rear.
Yeah, and I think especially like something else we had to be mindful of is just the fact that I was playing a stealth unit, and like I don't play a ton of stealth units in this game, but on Impact Side especially, I find it's just easier for me to make the situation work for me if I have a stealth unit. And because I'm playing that, I kind of have to like take advantage of the chaos that you guys create so that I can make picks on people who don't see me coming because they're more worried about the rest of the team.
Thankfully,
And so
the combination of the gym dominance and the gym custom Silver Haze Kai is great at causing chaos. Please continue.
yeah, I was just gonna say like that's kind of makes it all the more important for the team to press the offense because you got to really create some big diversions for me to get in and do my thing. Otherwise, I'm useless. I can't do anything without that kind of distraction.
Gotta say, for 32% diversions, I'd say I was pretty good at causing diversions.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt.
Overall,
I gotta
though,
say, Rogue was kind of the unsung hero of that match, though. Like he was doing some really, really effective frontlining.
oh yeah, and very often, every time that I was getting ganked, he was the one to rescue me.
Yeah, he definitely enabled a lot of our bullshit in that match.
And especially with the way that he was using the dominance, if you noticed, every time that there was a teammate around, he did try to avoid going in for it too often unless he knew he could guarantee the kill. Which he did a few times. You noticed it. He would take the hit to guarantee a kill. And he didn't boxing or anything. He would just go in for the melee. He just needed that extra little bit of damage. Any damage is better than no damage, as we always say.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like what I mentioned with like when we were all crowded into that one little space behind the building, and I was conscious of hitting either of you or anybody else. I was like, okay, well, I can just go for a tackle here to reset this person's stun, and that way I don't potentially hit a teammate. And then after that, it was like, okay, well, I can use my primary because that's a suppressive weapon instead of an instant stun, so I don't have any risk of screwing one of you over and then nerfing your damage output. And that's something you really had to be mindful of in this game, because like we've all had those times where somebody staggers you out of a combo, like they'll like shoot a bazooka at your feet
Like
when
the
you're in the middle
counter
of
when I was about to finish the dome dropping.
yeah, it's not to be too hard on that dude, but honestly, that's a perfect example of what I'm getting at here. Is like, and again, like, okay, to be fair, I don't know his exact situation. Maybe he didn't have maybe the shotgun was on cooldown, but that would be a time where you'd want to use the shotgun instead of the bazooka.
Or Vulcans, if you
Or,
don't have the
like-
shotgun.
Yeah, that too. It's another option. So when you have those options, be sure to use them. Like another good one is like I play the ground type Gelgoog is my most played mobile suit in the entire game, and as much as it can be tempting to try to thread your beam rifle shots through people, it's a fairly broad projectile for a beam, like for like just a generic beam rifle shot. So it's often better to just use the arm gatling or the arm grenades, because you can't stun teammates with those. Like I think even a lot of things that we look at as being like sort of instant stuns, like you gotta consider they're still suppressive.
Yep.
So for the sake of friendly fire, it makes a huge difference. Like against an enemy, it's just like, okay, well I'm gonna fire this and you're probably gonna get stunned if I get hit. So functionally, there's not a big difference there in a lot of cases. But like, I mean, maneuver armor interactions withstanding, but that's not what I'm getting at here.
Yep.
But like the point is, if you were to use them and hit a teammate, you wouldn't stagger them. So it can be really nice for when you're trying to like thread these shots in without potentially stunning a teammate and messing things up. So again, like shotguns, like the full armor 7's arm grenades would be another one. The full armor 7's missiles
Beam
are
gun.
another great choice for this. The beam gun,
Uncharged
really
beam rifle.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything in its kit except for the BFG and the charged beam rifle are just perfect examples of this.
And obviously melee, but that is
Yeah.
self-explanatory, I'd say.
But yeah, this is just something I think it pays to be mindful of. Just instances where you can do that to get guaranteed damage without making one of your teammates.
Pay for your mistakes.
Yeah. I
That's
was
a
gonna say
good
without prompting one of your teammates to send you a passive aggressive message in the instant chat. But yeah, I guess that's really all there is to say.
Overall, I'd say that it was a really good show of impact site. Maybe overall a horrible map for disorganized teams. But if you have a good team comp, even 3 people can make it very obnoxiously different.
Absolutely, yeah. And as I said, this is not a team comp that I would leap to readily on a lot of other maps, but on this map, it pays. Because, like, a Feast or Famine team works when it's just a Feast or Famine map. You might as well just maximize your odds of winning that first push and keeping the pressure on, which is exactly what we did.
Otherwise, I gotta say that it was an excellent match. It was, unfortunately, it was way too one-sided at the start, so I cannot really say that it was, competitive in the matter. It was also a quick match, we should admit that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to play rated with more than just one person, but
Unfortunately, that's not an option anymore.
yeah, they saw fit to take that out, which is something I really wish they'd change. I think the biggest thing is just like the reason I don't think it was problematic, without going on a huge tangent about this, is that like if you were to queue with 3 people, for instance, like we had last night, it would only pair you against groups of 3 people like 99% of the time. And I think that's fair. You have the same level of coordinated play between both teams, like 3 people and then 2 unknowns, like 2 wild cards, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's fine. I think at a minimum, it's okay to enable groups of 2 people to play rated, like the duo rank system that we see in countless other games. It's been proven to be not especially toxic to the health of the game in numerous other arenas. So it's like, I don't see why we can't have it here. Like, I really don't think that queuing with like one single duo partner would skew things too much, especially when, again, it's going to queue you against teams that also have a duo.
But yeah, all that aside, I think that covers everything, even our little gripes for the game.
Yeah, it's a relatively minor one. Something that, and to BB Studios' credit, if I'm not mistaken, they said they're trying this out. They're not 100% certain they're going to keep it this way. They might roll it back, which I guess is just me casting my vote to say I really hope they do.
Either way, first of all, before I forget, we're staying all the way to the end. If you have stayed, I hope that you enjoyed the match. I hope you enjoyed the breakdown. I hope you enjoyed our little tangent. I hope you enjoyed especially our our experience with the game and to what we can share with you, especially when it comes to the systems like how teammates should work. And I think that should be all, right?
Yeah, more or less. I do hope my aimless rambling does something for you, and if not, then my bad, I guess.
Have a great day, and we'll see you on the battlefield.
See you next time.